I was always the white girl. Growing up biracial in the Philippines, and then I get to New York and I was always the Asian girl. Neither race fully accepts you because you're not fully one or the other. It's sad because I was born in the Philippines, I was raised in the Philippines, I was there till like 7 years ago, my whole life. And so I was so proud to share that with my country. And then there was a lot of conversation about how
I'm like holding my breath. Okay, you're nervous?
yeah.
Oh, you know what? I was actually so surprised. Well, not really, but a
That I
little
said
bit.
yes?
First of all, yeah, because you're such a private person.
I am, yeah.
Like you're on all the platforms.
Yeah.
No one knows anything about you. Like I
No.
know what products you use. I know
Yeah.
you got a beautiful Birkin bag, but I don't know anything else.
Well, that's the thing. It's like when you don't say anything coming from yourself, people start to assume things or make things up.
Yeah.
You know? So then I'm like, let me just tell you about myself from me.
I love that. I was waiting for you to be comfortable with it because to give a little bit of context, we met before. I mean, I feel like we've always kind of seen each other around, but we were together on the Positano trip.
Yeah.
And it was so lovely to see you. Like the energy that you exude online, you also exuded in real life.
Okay.
Which I feel like people don't realize.
It's not, no. Some people aren't like that, you know?
A lot of people are not like that.
A lot of people aren't
So
like that.
I was very pleasantly surprised to be like, you're private, you're quiet, you're participating when you like feel you have something to add.
Yeah.
But it's not like all about you.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I'm trying to do better at it. I don't really like
make
talk.
it about you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, obviously. But, well, you know, I'm always interested in learning about people and kind of get uncomfortable when, you know, I'm the topic of conversation. So I always like to like turn it to the other people or like deflect it. But I'm trying to do better at talking more online. And I'm not comfortable with it as much, but the more that I do it, the more that I'm getting the hang of it.
Do you think it's naturally for you like that? Like, what are your hesitations about putting yourself out there?
You know, I'm an overthinker. So as we all are.
I love that we belong to the same club.
I say things, I'm like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. So then I'm also such a perfectionist. I'm trying to let that go and just be more, show people the real me because I'm very funny.
You're kind of awesome. No, actually.
And I feel like people don't know that about me. And
no. What do you think people think about when they see you? Like, what do you think people's first impressions of you?
I don't know. I mean, like, I'm always so polite and kind to everyone. So I think that's generally what people, and I think that also reads online, I hope. But I don't know. What do you think about me?
It's interesting because you are very much like a girl's girl. I do feel it online. I felt it especially when I started seeing you around. I love, and that maybe is just how I read it, but it seems like you have like really strong boundaries. And I don't know if those boundaries are from a place of you don't want to get too close or like, you know, share things about yourself, or it's after like certain experiences where you're like, no, this is my privacy and I'm not letting anyone in.
Some experiences from childhood has shaped that. Like I'm very guarded. I don't really let people in. And, you know, I'm always kind to everyone and always give everyone the benefit of the doubt. But same thing, I have very strong boundaries that if you cross a line or if you disrespect me, I'm like, we're okay. You know, like I don't need a million friends.
Have you ever lost your shit though? Because
no,
like I love that about you. Like first lady energy.
I can't. I honestly like there's certain situations where I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be so upset. But then push comes to shove, I'm like, still like a smile
I hope you
on my face. I wish you well.
One day.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
I'm 28.
Okay. No, one day it's going to happen because women, we go through many revolutions.
Yeah.
I said with a friend yesterday and I was like, I think that one is at 36.
Okay.
When you just kind of like, fuck this.
Yeah. When you stop caring what people think and...
Partially. Because the real one where you stop really, really caring is like 50. Because of the amount of people I speak to and because I'm so curious about like the journey of womanhood. Yeah. I'm getting so much information that now when I speak to other younger women, I'm just like, okay, honey, listen. At 27 or 28, you're starting your Saturn return. Have you heard of that?
I have, but I'm in it right now. What happened to yours? Did it hit you bad?
Well, mine was really scary. I had my third child at 28.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
I'm sitting there mothering children, a grown up, and all of a sudden I'm like, who am I? What am I doing? Where am I going? What is this life? Just so many questions about, I don't know, like the person that I thought I was no longer made sense to me. But that's a scary thing to go through when you have all this like foundation and responsibilities. You know, it's a different thing when you don't have all of this. You're like, okay, I have the time, the space, the freedom, but I had to like thread lightly and kind of, that's why it took me a long time to go through it. I would say I kind of got to a point where I felt like, okay, I have my feet stable on the ground at like 32.
Okay, wow.
So from 28 to 32. But I want to talk about just like everything that you're about. I think that part of your persona, and correct me if I'm wrong, but even for you being you're very put together. Like, I wonder if it's also the result of being the first, like, Filipina to walk the Victoria's Secret model, the first Filipina to be on Sports Illustrated. Like, that's a lot of
Milestone.
milestones, but also kind of a pedestal that you're put on. And that also kind of shapes the way you present yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big part of my career, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's the result of me being calm, but I think it's like, you know, I constantly love to learn. Like, there's nothing more that gets me going than like finding out something that I'm bad at, because I've
love that.
constantly proved in the past, if I just put my mind to it and if I do lessons and I do coaching, then I will be good. You know? So then in the past, I've like dealt with insecurities, as we all do, and or like anxiety, and just learning about how to overcome those things has really, really helped shape how I approach life right now.
How's your childhood affected like who you are today?
So many of my mom and my dad's values have shaped me, and you know, I come from such a great family and loving, supportive, and all those things are so important.
I want to know more about the Filipino culture because I'm very familiar with it.
Yeah.
And I make a lot of content about, you know, being raised in an Eastern European culture in a house. Like, that's a very specific way of raising kids. By the way, crazy. Like, they're crazy.
Yeah.
Filipino mothers are no joke.
I know.
I don't know if you had a traditional one or if your mom was a little bit more like a combination, maybe because your father was American and she was Filipina. There was a bit more of a
Yeah. No, my mom
mix.
is typical Filipino.
She
yeah, she's so
That is
strict.
so funny.
And my dad was more of the cooler one and more flexible one. So, I mean, my mom would like we had to have straight A's at school, and
No, they're not messing around.
you know, not messing around. And I wasn't allowed to wear a bikini until like 20 years old, when I was
Until
already
Victoria's
modeling.
Secret, walking the
Literally,
runway.
I was like, Mom, this is my job. I have to do it. And sometimes, like, even like with Sports Illustrated, and I'll just get a DM from her. I think you should take this down. I was like, Ma, this is what I do now.
I'm making history.
Yeah.
Hello.
No, but it's always like constantly ingrained in my head, you know, and I think that's why like I've never been the type to like show too much skin, or even though I literally modeled for Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
But I always like there's always a tasteful way to do it, and and that's always been my approach to those things.
I also feel like with Filipina mothers, you need to have thick skin.
Yeah, my mom will call you like you're fat. She's never said those things.
No,
but
no, I don't want people to think that it's anyone that comes from an immigrant household or had like, you know, culturally comes from a different place. It's very similar in a lot of cultures.
Yeah.
Like Russians are the same.
Yeah.
They just tell you the way it is. Like
Yeah.
they won't tell you, oh, maybe like you're fat, you need to stop eating. Like,
Yeah,
period.
period. I remember my grandma said it once. I literally just did the VS show, and I came home for Christmas, and we did like big Christmas with my whole family. I took a selfie with my grandma, and she goes, in Filipino, parang tumaba ka. Like, I think you gained weight. I was like, Grandma, I literally just did this fashion show. I'm like in my best shape I've ever
Which
been.
just shows you that you can never make them happy.
No,
They'll
no,
find
it's never
something
enough.
to point, which is hilarious.
But yeah, I thought it was so funny because like I don't think she meant it really.
Well, you have to learn how to laugh because otherwise you just cry.
Yeah. You're like,
But if you see people that are sharing those experiences, it's so funny to see how we're all bonded by this like thick skin,
shared experience. Yeah.
experience of traumatizing.
Yeah.
I don't want to say traumatizing because I feel like it's been like weaponized now. They make you a very tough person, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I feel like for you, it probably was also very beneficial coming into a modeling industry.
100%. Oh my God, it's so cutthroat. Oh, like the amount of rooms I've been in with the most beautiful women in the world, you just can't help it but be insecure. You know, you're just like, they're tall and they're Amazonians and they're just out of this world beautiful. And you're like, do I fit in this room? How did I get here?
Do you feel like coming from the Philippines? I don't know if there was like a big Filipina like model or supermodel before. I haven't at least heard of any.
Yeah.
I really started hearing it when you started coming out and doing all the things. Was it a lot of like limiting beliefs that you had just because of where you came from, that you've never kind of seen it done before?
It was really hard because, you know, I'm from this really small town in the Philippines, not even from Manila. I had not heard of a fashion industry. Like I didn't know about fashion. I didn't know about New York, didn't know about modeling, period. And then I got scouted. So then I started modeling in Manila and then I got scouted in New York. There were like 3 or 4 known Filipino models in the Philippines because they had come from the Philippines. So I always looked up to them like, oh my God, they could do it. But they were taller. They were like 5'10",
Like the
typical model.
yeah.
Yeah. So then when I got scouted and I started working a lot, I was like, oh, wait, maybe this is something I could actually really do. But it was hard because there was no one like me, really.
Yeah.
But you know, it was actually fascinating in the Philippines, growing up biracial, I was always the white girl. And then I get to
Interesting.
New York and I was always the Asian girl. And it was discombobulating to me because I grew up being the white girl and now here I'm the Asian girl. So it's just really weird to like experience that.
Did you always feel like you were kind of confused about your identity?
No, actually, because I still fully identify as Filipino. Being biracial, I feel like this is also a common experience with people biracial, is that neither race fully accepts you because you're not fully one or the other. You know, you're half. That's sad because I was born in the Philippines. I was raised in the Philippines and I was there till like 7 years ago, my whole life. I don't really know American culture. You know, I know Filipino culture by heart. So yeah, for me, I'm like, when I introduce myself, I say I'm Filipino.
When you started getting all these big jobs, because you know what, it's one thing to have famous models that, let's say, are more fashion, like, you know, the typical model, they're doing editorials and stuff like that. But you actually, I mean, that's how I learned about you. You really became kind of mass market because you were doing big campaigns that geared towards everyone. It wasn't just like the fashion girlies.
Yeah.
So to me, you were the first one.
Yeah. I came at a really good time in modeling where the industry was very accepting of diversity and they were looking for diversity. And I was told in modeling, my look is very ambiguous. So I fit different races. Like I could look Latina sometimes. I could look, Asian.
That's a superpower.
I know. I was like, wait, this is great. Because then if they need like, you know, I mean, and this is a known thing, if like they need one black girl, one white girl,
to show diversity, of course.
So then I could fit either the Latina girl or the Asian girl. I think I came at a right time when the industry was more welcoming of my look. I think if I had come 5 years earlier, it would have been very different.
The standards definitely like shifted and changed. People wanted to show a representation of the world we live in, not just this like tiny little, you know, pocket of society.
Yeah, 100%.
How did you feel when you started getting just publicity and like people starting to get to know you, especially in the Philippines? Do you feel like people were embracing it, or was it kind of the feedback of like, she's not Filipina enough, or she's too this?
Yeah, that was a big thing when I got the VS show because I was just so like, it was my dream, right? And I like literally came from this small town in the Philippines and like somehow I made it to the Victoria's
It's like a
Secret fashion
Cinderella
show.
story.
Literally, like how did I get here? And so I was so proud to share that with like my country. And then there was a lot of conversation about how I'm not really Filipino because I'm half Filipino. And I get it, but
a win is a win.
Yeah. And I also I'm proud and I'm proud to share that with my heritage.
That's probably so confusing.
But you know, it's hard because like I love my Filipino followers. They are like such an amazing supporters, but they're also the first ones to bring you down. So
But that's a known thing. I feel
Yeah.
again very similar to a lot of other cultures. I feel it the same way. Like I was born in Russia and culturally I grew up Russian, but then I grew up in Israel. So there's also that side for me
Oh,
and
yes.
had a similar experience where I was like, I don't feel like I'm 100% this and I'm not 100% there. Like where do I land and what does it look like for me? Yeah, it's interesting. People that were born in a country and grew up and like stay there, you don't understand that kind of like internal questioning, you know?
Yeah. But isn't it beautiful that you could experience both?
I love it, but it definitely comes with its own little,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you're not here, you're
Cons.
not there. How did it feel for you to walk the Victoria's Secret show? I know that you mentioned you were so excited. You're like, how did I
Yeah.
get from a small town here?
Yeah.
Did it reprogram like your brain at all in terms of even if you had any like limiting beliefs or anything that you just didn't think is in reach for you?
Yeah. You know, it's so funny because, like, I'm sure on TikTok, but I love seeing all these like manifestations on TikTok and like things you like, they're like, fake it till you make it, or like, be so delusional that you start to believe it. Like,
Love it.
I was doing all those things 10 years ago. Like, I'm going to walk the Victoria's Secret fashion show. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And there's even a tweet. Like, I did a tweet years before I did the VS show. I was like, mark this tweet. I'm going to walk the Victoria's Secret fashion show
Oh
someday.
my God.
I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I had it so clearly visioned in my head. A lot of things also had to happen right for me to get to where I am. And I'm grateful for all the people that helped along the way.
But I hope you also had that speech of like, I want to thank me. I want to thank me for believing in me.
But most of all, does that Snoop Dogg has said that?
My
I want to
favorite.
thank me.
Yeah, my favorite thing to reference all the time.
It's so good.
I'm like, you give credit where credit is due, but also don't forget. So you have done all of that and you did Chanel Couture show. Again, I don't think people understand how cool it is for you, again, to do brands that are mass market, do Victoria's Secret, do Sports Illustrated, and then walk a Chanel Couture show. And you're 5'8".
I know. I didn't walk though. I've never walked it. So the first ever runway show I did was the Victoria's Secret fashion show.
Oh, okay. Oh my God. Really starting small.
I'm not your typical high fashion runway girl.
Yeah.
You know, that was not my lane. And in modeling, you had very clear lanes that are assigned to you. You know, agencies don't put you in runway packages because you're not 5'10" or you're not like a 00. And so my lane was commercial and I was really happy with it because that made the most money. And I think that's like the biggest misconception that people don't understand with modeling is that high fashion girls don't really make a lot of money. There's prestige in it and it's amazing. It's cool you get to walk all these couture shows and amazing high fashion brands, but
you're also broke.
You're also broke and
Yeah.
you know, so I was really happy like where I was.
You landed at the perfect place. Can you imagine if you like did that whole road of leaving a small town in the Philippines to become this famous model? You're like doing runways. Everyone thinks you're living large and you're getting your $1,000 per runway show.
If that even.
I hate that.
I know.
I want to hear about all the firsts that you experienced. So we talked about the Sports Illustrated. You have 2 out of the 3. Did you get a big beauty contract?
No,
Not
I was
yet.
close. Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that there's more things to achieve.
Yeah, there's always more things.
And then I also saw your first designer bag, your Birkin.
Yeah.
I know that it sounds silly, but for someone who been working and came from like a very far away, you know, beginning. So how was it for you to experience even like becoming financially independent and responsible for yourself?
I mean, it's so freeing, right? To be like financially.
And you bought a house. Didn't you buy a house?
I did in LA. That was crazy too.
Well, that's actually crazier than the Birkin. Like we love a Birkin, but we love real estate.
I know, full house in LA. People also don't understand that there's so much money to be made in digital media. You know, so like the combination of both the modeling and the digital media, I'm just very grateful to have both.
It sounds like the stars were really aligned for you when it's when it was your turn to like, you know, do your thing, because when you came in, social media was already happening.
It was, but it wasn't as
Prominent.
monetized.
Yeah.
I think it was just like a, you know, a platform to like show your campaigns or your photo shoots, but
Like a portfolio
yeah, like a
online.
portfolio.
Now everyone's on it, understand that it's part of it.
Yeah.
You can't just be a model. You have to be on
Yeah.
social media. You have to build that personal brand.
100%. The industry has changed so much because of social media. Like before, people would look at your portfolios, now they just look at your Instagram. And that wasn't the case before.
And you are able to build a personal brand. To me, something that I remember from my modeling days that really made me so upset was the fact that my future and my work and everything that I was doing was really depending on the efforts that the agency was doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I decided that I'm starting social media, what really drew me when I decided, okay, this is going to be a business, is the fact that I am going to be the captain of this ship.
The agencies are feeling that shift
Yeah.
where they had all the power before and now it's shifted to the model. What I actually like about social media is, like you said before, the agencies decide what your haircut is. The agencies decide your hair color. They decide how you dress. And obviously, as a model, you have some input on how to bring that to life. But at the end of the day,
Very
it's
minor.
Yeah.
Where now it's like you're really setting the tone for what they are putting together because your personality is known, your essence, based on what you put on social media is known. So they're really building up on top of that. So when you come to the set, it's like it's Kelsey driven, not
Yeah.
God knows what. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, and I also like that, I've shared more of my life on my interests, like things that I like. Essentially, I've attracted brands that
Yeah.
that associate and gravitate towards that. So I think that's also like, in a way, I've been able to work with other brands that I haven't been able to work with as a model.
How do you deal with like opinions? Because part of what happens when you put yourself online is that even for you, with all the privacy and the things that you don't share, people have a lot of, opinions on what you do, what you don't do, who you are. And especially for you, when you say that, you don't share as much of yourself, you give stage for everyone else to tell you who you are. Like, how do you
Exactly.
navigate that?
Talking about security, I've been very secure as a person. Like, I'm so secure of myself that I also don't feel the need to prove to others otherwise. Like that's their opinion. Like, I'm not gonna spend energy trying to convince other people otherwise. A lot of the things are out of my control. I just need to learn what can I control. How I can control is how I respond. Do I let it get to me? Do I not let it get to me? Those are all within my control.
I don't think people realize, but I mean, you mentioned it a little bit earlier where you were discovered. You were discovered online, no?
Yeah, I was discovered by this New York director for Wilhelmina models at that time on Instagram. I remember I was like a sophomore in college and I was doing like a paper and I got like an email, ting, and it said like modeling in the Big Apple. And then I was like, okay, this looks really sketchy.
Yeah.
I was 17 at that time. It was this really legit guy who discovered Coco Rocha. My dad talked to him for like 2 hours because he was like literally like telling me to go to New York on my own. And my dad wouldn't let me, but I'm like, I'm good. I'm old. I can do it.
I'll figure this out.
But now in hindsight, I'm like, okay, that was fair.
What did you learn about yourself once you reached the Big Apple? And it's like, okay, Kelsey, this is your playground. Go at it.
Oh my God, it's just opened up a whole world. When I was young, I wanted to be a teacher, So now it like,
Really, a teacher?
yeah, I don't know why. I like remember being so clear that I just thought it was so cool that like my teachers were great. They had the power of grading me. And I was like, I want that power.
It's the authority.
Yeah, you get an A because I want to be that girl. The horizon just really opened up and it's made me just been able to like dream much bigger.
But tell me the ugly, messy parts because there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Listen, when you're out there and again, you're a child trying to understand where they belong and who they are and, build their future, there's a lot of messiness there. What is that messy was for you? Like, did you find yourself in environments that you were like, this is not for me, relationships, friendships?
I'm trying to think, and I've actually also talked to my parents about this because they're like, we don't want you to like get into like bad influences, but I'm like, I've just never been in those rooms. I've never been surrounded by like bad influences, a bad crowd that would lead me one way. Again, so grateful.
Yeah.
I've had amazing friendships really early on.
So tell me about the mentors and the friendships that helped you get through the whatever turbulence of just figuring it out. Specific people that really like helped you see the bigger vision.
Yeah. So the guy who discovered me when I was 17, I'm still with him. He's just such an amazing guy, and he's from Hawaii. So then I just feel like a connection to him, like from like a Pacific Islander. So he's been a constant in my life, and I'll go to him for any career decisions. I also owe him my career. Like he took me from the Philippines and brought me to New York, you know. For not for him, I wouldn't be where I am.
You'll be a teacher.
Yeah, I'll be a
Grading
teacher.
everyone. You have failed.
F.
Did you have any, because in modeling, it can feel very lonely because it's also an industry that kind of positions you to feel like you're in competition with the other girls.
Yeah.
Did you make any friendships early on that really helped you to like get you through that?
Yeah. You know, that's also another misconception I had, because everyone thinks like modeling so catty and modeling so, and I think it's also the time I came in where people really embraced and wanted to work with kind people. I've been surrounded by women in my life who I've worked with who are very uplifting and supportive.
Oh, I love that.
Is that nice?
That's really nice.
Like people reward kindness nowadays.
Not in my days. I used to live, I remember when I went to Tokyo, it was my second trip abroad. I went to Tokyo for a month and I was in a model apartment. And the first 2 roommates that I had, oh my God, like I still have nightmares about them sometimes. They were so vicious.
Really?
They were also Eastern European. When I came, I was like, oh, I'm from Israel. And they would talk shit about me in like Russian, but I speak Russian, but they don't know.
Did you
Like,
keep it to yourself?
Of course. Are you kidding me? It was like,
See?
I'm like, I'm going to make this interesting.
And then by the time you leave, you're like, say
I was
something
like,
ruthless in
bye,
Russian.
skatina, which is like, bitch. But yeah, that was like how I entertained myself during like really lonely times. But it was definitely a variety of people because it wasn't encouraged, honestly. I feel like agencies and the industry itself, it always felt like there's only one space and you have to get it. Otherwise, someone else will get it. You know, it was this really weird dynamic back in the day. It was
So
also
that fueled competition.
that fueled competition and just like mean girl behaviors. I definitely did meet people throughout my life that changed who I am for the better, like a lot of really amazing people. But you know, now even looking back, because I am of an overthinker and I like analyze all the relationship and the girls that, you know, different situations that were happening. And I was thinking about it a couple of months ago. I'm like, you know what? Thinking about it, we were in this apartment. All of us are 16, 17, 18 by ourselves. A lot of them came from villages. This is their only way out of whatever life they were living. Like there was no other way, no other option. I didn't come from that kind of background. So I couldn't even understand the survival instinct that they were operating on.
So now looking back, you're like, you're giving them grace.
Now looking back, I just want to find each and every one of them on social media and be like, I'm gonna fly and give you a hug. Wherever you are, I'm gonna come, I'm gonna hug you, and we're gonna be friends.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Let's talk about beauty standards for like in Philippines, because that's always something that I'm so curious about. I come from a diverse background. I have a lot of friends that come from different cultures. I'm always like, what is the norm for you? Are there any kind of standards that are happening in the Philippines?
They just prefer a lighter, fair-skinned person. And so the whole country is obsessed with getting lighter and like hiding from the sun, because like it's also associated with class. Like the more fair you are, well, that's like
I heard that.
You know what I mean? Like the more fair you are, the richer you are.
Yeah.
So then growing up, my mom would always tell me to hide from the sun. You know, I grew up, I was more fair, but I think now I've like developed a deeper, like a more, not as white color, but I love it. I think I'm the most beautiful when I'm tan, you know?
Yeah.
And that's very different from how people think back home. From the very beginning of my career, I've made a very clear stand with like my agents back home. And I said, I will never promote whitening products. I think Filipinos are so beautiful in their own natural skin color. That's always been my thing, and I will still never do it.
I respect that. Yeah. Also, what the hell does it even look like to promote a whitening product?
So growing up, glutathione has,
Yeah.
if you take a lot of it, it can make you lighter. It can make you more fair. When I went to the US first and I'd hear glutathione, I'm like, oh, that's a whitening product. And then I'm like, everyone's like, no, it's great for your like,
Like,
if you take
there's a
it.
supplement. There's a lot of
Yeah.
benefits to it. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's like all these glutathione pills that you could take, or like whitening soap, or like whitening creams, all
Wow.
whitening.
It's a whole
yeah.
industry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Major
Okay.
industry.
What about like superstitions? The Filipinos are big in superstitions.
Yes. Let me think of
What are
some.
some that like you growing up, you heard your mother or grandmother say, and you're just like, oh my
Do you have some from Russia?
Of
A lot?
course. Are you kidding me? So you can't put purse on the floor. You won't have any money.
Okay.
You can't, if someone wants to like try a ring on, you can't
Right.
give it to them. You have to put it on the table and then they take. If you sit in the corner of the table, you're never getting married.
What?
Endless
Yeah.
things that you don't know how to like move in the world because you're like, oh my God, what does this mean? What is that?
Yeah.
So many things. Before we get on a plane, we sit down for like a minute.
Do you still do that?
That I still do. It's like for kind of like a good journey.
Yeah.
Before you leave the house, you look in the mirror and then you leave.
What?
Yeah. I don't even know
Why?
why. I have no idea. And I'm doing
You still
it.
do it?
That's what I'm saying. That it's like, it doesn't make sense, but
yeah,
it's so
but it's
ingrained.
in you. New Year's superstitions, like my mom always had 12 kinds of fruits in the fruit bowl for good luck.
Oh.
And then I wanted to gift my ex-boyfriend a pair of shoes, but they're like, you never give.
Yeah, you can't. Because then he walk away.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
see?
Yeah.
It transcends.
Or like if you give it, they have to give you a coin back to like counter that.
If you gift a wallet, has to have money in it. And then you can't give a watch because that's also like bad luck. Because again, it's like time is running out under this relationship.
Yeah, so there's all these things. I'm like blanking on some of them.
But isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
Like the amount of mental capacity
Yeah.
that you need to have to like remember all of that. And I remember my grandmother was so serious about these things. I'm like, really? I feel like there's bigger fish to fry. You
Yeah.
know?
I think we have more science to back these up.
Yeah. Thank God. Let's
Yeah.
ask ChatGPT now.
Yeah, literally.
Tell me about accent because you don't have any accent. Did you ever have one?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So my first language that I learned is Filipino. It's what we spoke in the house, and the only time I would speak English was with my dad because he didn't really speak Filipino. And I grew up in this small town where people can speak English, but it's mostly Filipino. I actually remember. So when I went to high school in my small town, and then I moved to the city for college.
Mm-hmm.
And it was called Ateneo de Manila, and a lot of the students there are very posh, and they mostly speak in English. It was
Oh.
kind of like a culture shock for me because I was like, everyone, their first language is English. And
So it was kind of like the richer kids?
right, yeah.
So
'cause
they knew English.
they knew English. They grew up in an English household, even though they were all Filipino. And I felt a little insecure about my English. And so it got better. Honestly, even in school, I was amazing in math. I was amazing in science. My worst subject was English.
It's a hard one.
It's so hard. I mean, I don't know. Even now, I feel so insecure about my English.
Really? Are you honestly, until I kind of did a little research, I thought you grew up in the US. Like, yeah, you had a Filipino mama, but I think you grew up here.
That's what a lot of people think about me. Or like assume
Yeah.
I'm like from
Well,
Hawaii
because
or
your
California.
accent, that's insane.
Right. So what happened is from the Philippines, I go to New York.
How old were you?
18 when I first did the modeling thing, but fully moved full-time 21.
Okay.
I had an American accent that I adapted from my dad, but it's so funny because I would say certain words differently. Like I would talk like this, but then I'd say a word in a Filipino accent and then it would throw people off.
Wait, give me one though. My kids spoke with a Filipino accent
Really?
until probably 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
With Filipino nanny? Or-
Yeah. That
So
raised me
fun.
and them.
Amazing.
So they literally had
Wait.
the accent. It was the funniest thing.
I
They're
love
like,
that.
what's this accent? I'm like, a
Yeah,
Filipino.
I'm
Duh.
Filipino. These things stick with me because I'm like so embarrassed. So there was one time in New York, I was like talking in English and I was like, oh, the Caucasian. And then they were like, what? I was like, Caucasian. Like they're
But
like,
wait, that sounds right to me.
Caucasian? It's apparently Caucasian.
Oh my God.
Did you
I
think
wouldn't
it was
know.
funny, or did you notice what I said? Did you clock it? Yeah, okay. Caucasian. So in the Philippines we say coffee or Caucasian. So the coffee,
It's
it's
like
very O. It's
amplified.
very like round.
You see, I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
I was like, that sounds
you're like,
right.
sounds
You
right.
did it right.
Or another, actually something more very recent, maybe a year ago. And I was like, oh my God, I thought I was over all these things. I was talking to my friends talking about my college, and I was like, when I was a sophomore, and they're like, what? I was like, what? And they're like laughing. I was like, what did I say? They're like, it's sophomore. I was like, oh, got it. Okay,
That
sophomore.
sounds very chic, though. It's
Sophomore?
like Target. You don't go to Target.
Yeah, I was a sophomore, you know? But it's like, it's not wrong or right. It's just the Filipino way of saying it that I've said it my whole life. So now I've learned. So through the years, people would, because I would talk an English accent and they would point out the things that I would say differently.
Yeah.
I learned how to say it the American way. So then now it's
so funny.
completely undetectable unless I say one word that people haven't corrected me with. One
There's
word
spice.
I still really struggle with.
Which
and it's
one?
so funny. So in the Philippines, we say,
Is that the animal?
yeah, yeah,
You see, I don't even dare to say it
yeah,
myself.
yeah, it's okay. I want to hear your version of it. So in
Okay,
the
you go
Philippines,
for it.
we call it hippopotamus.
Yeah.
Hippopotamus. But here, I guess it's hippopotamus? Hippopotamus. Can you say it?
I like the Filipino version.
Hippopotamus.
Hippopotamus sounds better to me than hippopotamus. I literally why?
Hippopotamus.
Hip to the
Hippopotamus.
To the hip, to the yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be like hippo.
Hippo. Yeah, hippo.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hippopotamus.
Hippopotamus is what we
You know
say.
what's also crazy about the language is that you speak, there's a mix of English in there. There's a mix of Spanish in there.
Yeah.
Our nanny Nori. Nori, if you're listening, I love you. Nori would like watch Filipina telenovelas, and I would just like walk by and I'm like, Nori, they speak like
Spanish.
5 languages. What is
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's crazy because it was a Spanish colony for 300 years.
Is it still the case? Do you feel like the younger generation still, like, do they learn Spanish?
No, but it's ingrained in the language. So
Wow.
I didn't even realize this till like really came to America, and I would hear all these Spanish words and I was like, wait, I know that word. And it's like the same, like we say the same things. We speak time in Spanish. I didn't realize that, like a las cuatro, a las tres. We talk money like 50. Like those are all very
That's
common
so cool.
day-to-day things in the Philippines.
That's really cool. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure when you came to LA, you're like, I got this. No problem. Let's talk about style, because that's something that I'm really curious about. You have such good style.
Thank you.
Did you always did you find it right away? Did it take you some time to figure out what's more of your thing?
I think I've always gravitated towards classic and timeless style, even when I was still in college. I'd have all these things in my closet, and it was so hard to like nail what I like because, you know, I would buy this top, but then I would never wear it, and it would sit in my closet, and I couldn't understand why I would never put it on, even though I think it's beautiful. And I've realized that because it didn't feel right. Like even I could appreciate something, but
It wasn't for
but
you.
it didn't feel right for me. So then honing that, even when I shop, I'm like, oh, I love this thing, but I just know I will never wear it. So that's helped me with like my shopping and curating like my closet.
Okay, let's talk about 2025 ins and outs for you, because again, it's a personal thing. What's
Yeah.
like a total in for you?
I think gatekeeping is in.
I agree. I had a whole conversation about it.
Really?
100% it's in.
I just think it's like everyone looks the same. I know. You know? And it's because everyone's sharing all these things, and it's like everyone's buying the same thing, but just find your own personal style and not like buy whatever, you know, all the influencers are wearing.
I 100% agree. I think also it does postpone people finding their own way to express themselves, because then we're just replicas of whatever it is that's trending now. I want people to like work a little harder. Go
Yeah.
thrifting, like go, scour online, find like brands you never heard of.
Yeah.
Do the work.
Do the work. That's the thing. It's like, I did the work. I found this thing. You guys have to do a little work to find it too.
Exactly. What is out for you?
Oversharing? online.
Well, no, babe, you first of all need to start.
Yeah.
You have
No, I can share, but not overshare. You know what I mean? I think when people like their lives are so plastered online, like
Yeah.
that's like too much.
It's a scary thing.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Well, first of all, I experienced it. I didn't start my career as a model. I started my career as a YouTuber, like influencer,
really?
storyteller. Yeah,
But you were a model.
I was, but when I got online, it came from that like documenting
Oh, okay. Got it.
perspective,
Oh, so
not
you're
like
like,
my portfolio. You know what I
got
mean?
it, got it, got it. Yeah.
So I built my brand on like sharing a lot of things. And with the years, I was like, yeah, you know what? Starting to put new boundaries, like new rules. My kids are not shown as much. I don't want to. Like,
yeah. I think it's also healthy. Like,
yeah.
like it's a boundary you have with your online community that you get to have a piece of your life for yourself. And I think that's mostly what I've tried to protect, which is why I've been
You've done a really good job.
really private.
You've done a really good job. I'm very excited though to see you finding your style of like communication where people can feel and understand who you are without, you opening up floodgates.
Yeah.
So that's going to
100%.
be cool for you.
Yeah.
What is a go-to fashion essential for you?
A white t-shirt, I think, is so chic.
Do you have a brand that you like go for when it comes to white t-shirts?
For a lower price point, COS makes
so
really,
good.
or even Uniqlo does really great shirts. Or higher brands, obviously, like The Row has such amazing quality shirts.
They have such good cuts.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
What have you seen on the runways, or like what have you seen, especially for you? You go to a lot of shows. Have you seen things that you're like, oh, we're gonna see much more of that?
More Victorian pieces. Like I feel like the Dior show, there's a lot of Victorian inspirations, and even the Ralph Lauren show. There were so.
I loved your look.
Thank
for
you
Ralph
so
Lauren.
much.
It was so good.
Thank you. People are wanting more like vintage and
Like give me
cooler
story,
pieces.
yeah, something. Did you ask for vintage or
No, it was luckily like they gave me 4 options.
did you have any look this year or even in the latest like fashion week that you loved?
There's a lot of good ones.
There are a lot of good ones. Do you work with a stylist or is it you?
No, I mostly style myself. In the past years, I've recently been working with a stylist because like
You need to source pieces.
so exhausting to like, shop and like style, and my worst, like I just dread packing for a trip. It's like my worst thing. So
Yeah.
having the stylist has helped me take that load off of my shoulders.
And it's fun to collaborate with someone.
Yeah.
And like tell them your vision and then work together, and it's not so you.
Yeah.
Because
There's a
sometimes
lot
you
of
want a fresh
pressure.
perspective.
Yes.
So favorite look, anything comes up or you have too many good ones? Because I think you have too many good ones. Like I wouldn't be able to choose. Because you do classic really well, but you know what you do so well as well? Sexy.
Yeah. I'm so obsessed with Tom Ford because that's like a different side of me that I don't really get to show as much recently. Like during the, VS Sports Illustrated days, it was like
Everywhere.
it was everywhere. It was all I was. But then back then, I remember looking on Instagram and it was just like bikini photo, bikini shot, lingerie shot, all back, and it's all like sexy. And I was like, I just feel like I have so much more to offer than this. So then I made a very conscious decision to not share as much like that and share more of like my interests and what I like and like my fashion and all these things.
Well, you did a really good job. So
Thanks.
now when you give a sexy, I'm like, yes.
Yeah, if you were like, we've been starved.
I love it. It's so fun. I love being a woman. It's so fun to like be able to play around and to express yourself and like the season you're in with clothes.
Yeah.
And just like, tomorrow you feel like something else, put it on and you go as that other woman.
Clothes are really fun.
I love. Okay, are you ready for rapid fire?
Oh my gosh.
This is how we're gonna finish this.
Okay. All right.
Okay. A beauty product you can't live without.
A lip balm.
What kind?
Summer Fridays.
That's a good one. Any like beauty procedure, facial type that made the biggest difference for you for your skin?
There's a couple.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Okay.
Give me options.
Okay. So for the face, like I really love the skin resurfacing treatments like Clear and Brilliant because it just gets rid of all the texture.
Have you tried BBL or Moxie or just
No.
Clear and Brilliant?
What's BBL?
BBL, it's not that BBL.
Yeah, I was like,
It's for the face. I'm actually gonna do it. That's like my next, because I've never done any lasers, nothing like
Okay.
it. And now that I've been 4 years in Miami, I'm like, it's time to, clean up, give a little bit more of less like sunspots. So I'm gonna do the BBL Moxie. But my first one was like, oh, I should do
Clear and
the Clear
Brilliant.
and Brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try the other one, and we'll see.
But those freckles, no?
I have freckles, but here it's already like on the sides, on the cheeks. This is already like sun.
Oh.
So I just need a little even out.
Yeah.
But Clear and Brilliant took away some freckles, or no? It did for you?
I don't know, because I have so much, and it like varies. Like when I'm in the sun, it's a lot. When I'm not, so
same.
I'm like, I don't really notice.
I feel like I've been avoiding it because people are like, oh, it's gonna take away all your freckles. But it's a good point. I have so much. Like it's okay. I can give some.
And then you literally like just do one summer and it's all back.
I know. Okay, so Clear and Brilliant.
Yes, Clear and Brilliant. And then one thing I also am obsessed with is M-Sculpt on my butt.
Really? You see a difference?
I wanted to gatekeep this.
You know what? We're gatekeeping for everyone who will not listen to this episode.
Yeah, it's an exclusive. No, but so I'm obsessed with Pilates. And I feel like after like 3 weeks of consistent Pilates, I feel like my butt is at a shape where it's like perky and it's like strong. After 1 or 2 sessions of M-Sculpt, I literally will get the exact same lift.
But how often do you do them?
I do it as much as I can.
You're an M-Sculpt addict.
Yeah, no, just for my butt though. I don't really see a difference on my abs.
Yeah, because I tried it on the abs. Granted, I haven't done the full kind of run that I think the first time is like 6 or 7 that you need to do to see anything.
Okay, yeah.
That's at least what they told me.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to revisit this M-Sculpt thing. I haven't done it on my butt. Maybe that's going to be the secret.
Yeah.
Because I don't have much going on there.
No?
No.
Really?
Yeah, so if M-Sculpt can create miracles,
Yeah.
I will reach out for sponsorship, M-Sculpt, if it's going to work.
Hit us
Okay,
up.
favorite meal from home?
Filipino chicken adobo. Have you had it?
I have a feeling that I have. I don't know if what is in it?
It's this really simple dish that's cooked in soy sauce, vinegar.
I think I had it.
Yeah, you have
Nori
it
for
with
sure made
rice.
it
It's
for me.
literally like 5 ingredients.
So good.
It's amazing. It's my favorite.
I also like the okra, the way they make the okra, which I think is not everyone love it. But
Yeah,
I
I don't.
Yeah,
I'm like, you brought me back to my child. I'm like, ooh.
yeah, I know. I know that a lot of Filipinos are like, yeah, no, that's not one that I want to
Yeah.
revisit.
That's like a dish my mom would eat. And I'm like, ugh.
That's her beauty secret.
Yeah.
So you surf.
I do.
When did you pick it up?
So I started surfing at 16 in the Philippines. I tried it out and I was so obsessed with it. And it's just like gives you such a euphoric feeling when you catch a wave. And it's so, this is actually very common for surfers. They just feel like they can take their mind off the world and just be in the moment because you have no choice or you'll die. If you can drown, like if you get caught in a bad wave, you have to, it forces you to be present. So that's what I love about it.
So it's like a meditation. Mm-hmm. You really have to be there.
And your nature and with the ocean, it's great.
Oh, so you're like a pro now?
I'm not a pro. And you know what's so funny? I know a lot of very, very skilled surfers, so I would never consider myself pro at all.
But to me, you're a pro. So it depends who's asking.
Right. So I actually went on a recent surfing trip maybe a month ago in Costa Rica, and I was telling the surf instructors, I was like, I'm like beginner to intermediate. And then we get to the wave and they're like, girl, you're not beginner. I was like, okay, thank you. So I guess I'll say I'm intermediate, but I'm not pro at all.
Like you're not going to go to the Olympics, but you can hold yourself down.
Yes. I can catch a wave.
Do you like spend a whole day in the ocean?
Yeah, I could.
Like, in theory, I love that. I feel like that would be something that I would love so much, but...
No? Are you a beach girl? Like more
I just learned how to
girl?
swim like 2 years ago.
Oh
so
my
I don't know if
God.
I'm ready
Really?
for catching any waves.
Yeah, maybe baby steps.
Baby steps. I did surfing lesson in Costa Rica because we were living there for like 2.5 months.
Oh, okay.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Took a surfing, stood on the board. Things were happening.
Yeah.
There's hope.
Yeah.
But you definitely have to be like
Are you comfortable
consistent.
though? Like, or do you get scared in the water?
Yeah, water scares me.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think I need a little bit more time.
Yeah, because like there's also like so common, but situations where you get trapped in under the wave in this
You
washing
see, that's
machine.
enough for me to
Terrifying.
not do it again.
And you're like stuck in it and you have to be so calm for like maybe 10, 15 seconds. You're in this wish wash. And then
my
you
God.
eventually get up. But then this is like the scariest part of surfing. So waves usually come in sets, right? So there's like it's mostly 3 sets of waves. You catch a wave, you fall, and then another wave comes, and then you get stuck again, and it's just so scary. You have to paddle so fast to like
So
try
why
to get
are
over
people
it.
like obsessed? I don't understand. Like you will die.
You can die if you're, but luckily I never go alone. I'm always with instructors who know the waves, and sometimes there's like pathways where there's no waves, so that's what I prefer, because I could take a wave and then take an exit and go back around. But there are some waves where it's closed off and you have to swim up through the wave to get back out, and that's I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah, I will just watch your stories when you go on your surfing trips and root for you. Is there anything else that you love to do, like surfing, that really helps you to like get in your zone, put your mind?
Very similar feeling I get is skiing.
Oh, you're like an active girl.
I love activities. I love sports. I was president of my sports club in high school. Like I was a sporty girl. Still very athletic. I love learning all these sports. So skiing, I learned I didn't see snow till I was 21, you know.
Wow, and you just like picked it up?
And then I didn't ski until I was like 25. Then I just picked up skiing really well. But that's also the thing that I was so terrible at, and it just fueled me to just get
So you
so
love
good.
to be like, you love to be in a student mindset. I love
Yeah.
that too. But for me, like I'll pick up like ping pong. Like my feet are on the ground. Nothing is moving. There are no forces around me
Yeah.
that can come and surprise me. But you know, like same but different.
Yeah, totally.
What is the first luxury item you got for yourself?
The first bag I bought for myself was this Balenciaga city bag.
Iconic. The fact that they're coming back, isn't
I
it
know.
amazing?
I was like, wait, I still have mine. I was about to sell it.
Oh my God, it's a vintage piece.
But you know, I think I'm gonna keep it because
yeah,
it's sentimental to me.
Aw.
And great that it's coming back because I still have it.
That feeling of like getting your first like expensive item. I
Yeah.
feel like you're there, you're spending the money in your head, you're thinking about that money could buy 3 months of rent
yeah.
in my home country.
Literally.
And it's like this whole,
You're
and
like,
then you're kind of proud of yourself, kind of freaking out.
I know.
It's
No,
a big deal.
fun.
What is your favorite place to travel to?
It's so basic, but I love Positano. I love it so much.
Fashion trend you will never wear. Neon.
Is that a trend?
I don't know. I hope not.
I know. I was about to go like Crocs, but is that a trend or?
I mean, people
skinny
are keeping it
jeans?
alive. Skinny jeans. I hate that they're trying to bring it back.
No.
Like, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, but like to each
No,
their
it's
own.
not okay. No, absolutely not. You know what else is in? Honesty.
But honestly, like if they're happy, who are you to rain on their parade? You know what I mean?
Okay, listen to me. Who inspires you?
I'm constantly searching for inspiration, and I take it from different people. Because you can't just like, there's no one. I couldn't answer because there was no one
There's no one
answer.
person that like embodies.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Some people I admire their mentality on things. Some people I admire their approach to life. Some people I admire the way they are with their family. You know, it's just certain things I take away from different people.
Yeah. What is that one thing you want to work on?
Just being more comfortable. I just get so nervous speaking in public or speaking online. So I think I just want to really be more comfortable with doing that.
You know what you need to do?
What?
Do more of it.
I know, that's the thing. I'm trying.
But you know what? Look at you're here.
I hear. I
So,
showed up.
You showed
That's
up.
what matters.
Student mindset.
Mhm.
Spoke. You did great.
Thank you.
I'm really proud of you.
I need to start talking.
That would be the first step.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. But I guess like the amazing thing about modeling is I found comfort in like I just have to pose in photos. You know, I don't have
Yeah.
to speak or like.
Well, people don't realize how difficult it is. And I've experienced it myself because I got so accustomed to just being like a blank canvas in modeling. And when I started showing up on social media, I really had to learn like, who am I? How do I speak? How do I sound? What am I trying? What's my messaging? Like, I had to find a lot of these things that I didn't realize didn't have because of just the work that I was in.
Yeah.
You know, so it truly is like building your identity online is its own journey.
Yeah.
So, because you want to obviously have your authentic self, but it's also, it's a business, it's work.
Yeah.
You know, so you're on your way. I love it. Thank you so much
Of
for
course.
coming
Thanks for having
and
me.
for sharing. And you did great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't miss my newest episode right here. And if you're listening to the podcast on Apple or Spotify, please go and leave a review with your biggest takeaway. I love reading your thoughts. They inspire me. So if you have any suggestions for guests or topics, you can leave them in the comment section. And always, always remember, you are not alone.